Hi there, I'm Megan and I go by Solar Glow Meditations. Tonight we're going to have a distance Reiki session where I will be using some crystals to help guide this energy. I'm actually going to be changing it up a little bit from my normal routine. Usually I draw tarot cards to help direct the energy, but this is actually a request from one of you guys out in the audience. This session is going to be all about vulnerability and just being okay with that, being safe in this space. So yeah, before we get started, a couple of things. I do need your consent to work on your energy, so either out loud, in the comments, in your head, wherever you feel most comfortable, just agree to receive this energy healing. I think other things, if you guys do have requests, put them in the comment section. I do read through those and try and incorporate them as I can, and as I feel called to. Also, if you guys are interested in viewing this ad-free, I do have a membership level on my YouTube channel to watch this video. It is a separate video than the just general one that's out there, so you'll have to look for the title that says ad-free to watch this one ad-free as a member. But yeah, otherwise, I think that covers it. Thank you for being here. Oh, and I will be putting the crystals that I'm using down in the description box below, so don't feel like you have to remember them if you're at all interested in procuring some of those. So tonight I'm just going to start with selenite. Selenite is a really great cleansing crystal. We're just going to take this whole session very delicately. It feels like, especially with this vulnerability theme, that perhaps you've gone through something that's kind of shaken you to your foundation. It could be, if there's a couple of things coming out, it could be that you've lost a mentor, a loved one, someone very close to you that you relied on very heavily for guidance, for support. And if so, I'm very sorry for your loss. But it doesn't necessarily just have to be a person. It could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be a pet. It feels like there's kind of like a sense of loss going along with this vulnerability. It can also be not just like something external, it could be something within yourself too. A sense of who you are, maybe an identity. That usually goes with like a job or a person, but it doesn't have to even be quite so external. It could be opening up to new belief systems, realizing that something that you've thought for a long time, maybe you've seen it from a new perspective or with new data and information, and maybe you've just come to the understanding that what your perception of the world is not quite as it actually is. And that can all of these things make us feel so vulnerable. Oh, I'm getting this sense of like coming out. Perhaps if you are of the LGBTQIA alphabet soup group. I'm not sure what all the letters are anymore, so I apologize. So maybe it's that you have to share some news externally that will cause loss to other people as well, and feeling vulnerable about that. Vulnerability feels very broad. And that's okay. I think this Reiki session is intended to be quite broad. Regardless of how you're feeling vulnerable, I want you to know that you're safe. You are going to be okay. Even if you're not sure how yet, you're going to be okay. So the selenite is going to, or is, I should say is, it's been working already. It's cleansing out these fears, these worries, the concerns, the uncertainty. You're doing great. The next stone I'm going to be using is Obsidian. We're going to use this to help ground. And grounding is usually partially a helper for cleansing. It feels like I did these a little bit backwards today, but the intention with grounding here, apart from letting go of energy that no longer serves you, is to really get your feet on the ground, to plant your roots, to bring stability to this vulnerability. By bringing stability, ultimately we're going to bring in some confidence, some self-love. But we need to start with setting a solid foundation. Right now, I'm helping you grow your roots deep into the ground. I'm seeing them as tree roots. And some of you might be laying down in bed or laying in a chair, and that's perfect. And know that these roots are going straight through that piece of furniture, straight through the floors under your house, apartment, car, wherever you may be, straight down into the earth. We're gonna find that ooey gooey dirt. It generally feels a little bit, I'm getting a mixture in there. There's a lot of like muddy ground kind of going down into the clay, but there's also this like sandy element. Some of you are in the desert somewhere. Getting a little bit of everything going on. This is fun. Collective readings are are so interesting because you get such like this mix of like a little bit of taste of everything. It's like a tasting menu at a restaurant. I'm getting some snow in there too. Some of you guys are in a winter wonderland somewhere. The further down we go, down into the earth, the more it all resembles itself. Despite where we may have differences on the surface, whether it be in the mountains in the snow, at the beach, in the desert, the further we get down to the core of the earth, the more you start to realize we are all on the same planet. And as you start to have this foundation, these roots reach down, you'll start to notice that everything is interconnected. Everything is energy. Everything. We're not all the same, but we are all one. So even though you are an individual expression of you, your soul, your energy, you are unique. You are also part of the one and the collective and the whole. So as you feel these feelings of vulnerability, I want you to reach deep down inside of yourself, reach deep down into the core of the earth and realize that we're all on the same spinning ball of clay and molten lava and sedimentary rock and whatever else happens to be down at the core. I see a lot of like orange, fiery, spinning energy down there. And your grounding cord goes all the way down to the very center of the earth. We have reached that center. And everybody around you that is grounded has that same grounding cord touching that same center of that earth. And I think remembering that is so important as you move forward in your expression of vulnerability. You are so incredibly grounded right now. I'm kind of in awe at how well that went. There's no resistance to it, which is phenomenal. I have 2 more stones for you for this session. The first one is Amethyst. Might be also a heat-treated citrine, but it's got that purpley kind of cool energy to it. I'm gonna grab the other one now too. It feels sort of right. The other stone is rose quartz. Whoop. It's jumping right out of my hands. It's ready to go. Rose quartz is the ultimate love stone. And both of these together, I think, are so nice and complementary. Gosh, so many of you guys have like come into my comments and said like, these sessions always make me cry, and here I am welling up right now and I'm not even sure why. There's like, you're letting a big breath of air out and allowing yourself to feel feelings in this session. And recognizing that you need to love on yourself a little bit more. You don't need to beat yourself up for being vulnerable, for asking for help, for saying I can't do this by myself, because asking for help is being vulnerable. And that can be a really challenging thing, especially for, if you're like me, I'm over here Miss Independent. I like to do it myself. But we can't operate in isolation. We are social creatures. Whether or not we like that some days, myself included, I am very much somebody that likes to go and find a good book and hide away and shut out the world. And that's okay to do sometimes, but in this moment of where you're at, you should be seeking your social circle. If your support network has changed, if your job has changed, if you yourself have changed and need to express that, you need to find those people that are there to support you. And one of the hardest things about being vulnerable is kind of this fear of rejection. And oh my gosh, like, guys, what is happening? You might get rejected. And that's one of the hardest things about being vulnerable. And if you are rejected, I want you to take that a step further. What is the worst thing that can happen? That person, that situation, that job is no longer part of your life. And it might sting initially, even for a little while, but it means it wasn't meant for you, and it makes way for new situations, new people, new you to come forth to be exactly what you're supposed to be. Gosh, I'm shaking a little bit. I feel like you are shaking as well. It's gonna be okay. Even in the worst of worst cases, maybe you have a giant family and you get cut off from your entire family. That can be really, really hard, especially when there's, 10, 20, 30, 50 people that you're used to seeing on a regular basis that are just suddenly cut out from your life. That can be really shocking and really gut-wrenching. And I don't want to diminish that at all, but I hope you're feeling those roots right now, because they have got you firmly implanted in place right now. And as it turns out, you never needed them to love you. You only needed you to love you. And you are never really alone, even if you feel like you are, because Spirit is always with you. However that may manifest for you. Perhaps it's spirit guides or angels or your higher self or God or Jesus or Mohammed or Krishna or whoever your circle of those on the other side are. Or even venturing out further, if you don't believe in the other side, you still have you. that makes you never alone. I know that feels like sort of a mind bender. Don't think about it too hard right now. Just feel what you need to feel. And recognize that if all of these external validations were conditional on you being a certain way, being a certain thing, and it was never, gosh, I'm stopping myself from saying this. Why is this not coming out? If you had to be a certain way in order for somebody to love you, it was never really love in the first place. And that is really, really challenging. But I'm coming back to this scenario of like you lost a loved one, and the great thing about the other side is that it is pure, unconditional love. And so even if you have lost this person and that's making you feel vulnerable, you can reach out to them, you can ask for them, you can say, please give me a sign, show me a ladybug, show me a cardinal, maybe within like a week or 2 weeks, and be open for that to come through. And it doesn't even have to be like the loss of somebody. It can be ask your spirit guides for a sign that you're gonna be okay in this time of vulnerability, and they'll send you one. Just have to be open to receiving it however it may come. I always tell people that ask for something like really odd and out of the ordinary so that when it comes through that you know it's really your sign. So the example I like to give is a purple elephant. And I thought of this sign because in downtown Seattle there is this famous car wash whose sign is a purple elephant that kind of rotates, and I always thought that was just the funniest thing, and for some reason it's always stuck with me. But when you start to see these sort of signs, realize that they can come through in the form of words, in the shape of clouds. It can be anything. It can be an advertisement on a bus driving by. It doesn't have to be so specific. The words one is the one that I always find hardest to kind of understand, because you're listening to my Reiki session and you've asked for a purple elephant, and here I am giving you this sign. You got to not question it. Just know that that is your sign. Trust your gut. Spirit's taking me back down to your roots. You are grounded. Don't let your ego sway you away from receiving the sign because you think it should be something else, or you expect it to be something else. Sometimes it can be even just slightly different than what you expect. I had a message from someone a while back asking like, hey, I asked for a purple giraffe and instead I got a pink giraffe, but I knew it was them at that moment. Of course you did. Like, the actual fact that it didn't perfectly meet the criteria doesn't make it any less of a sign. The perfection seeking is something your ego looks for, and you have to let the ego go. You're doing so great. I can feel the confidence release. Not confidence, the confidence building, the tension is gone. There's still very much kind of this shaky feeling of unsureness, but it's almost gone. You've almost got it. There it goes. You got it. Focus on those roots. Focus on how grounded you are. Find your strength in your grounding. All the trees would fall over if not for their roots. And you're the same way. Your roots are grown solely by you, not by any of these external forces, these outside situations. I can feel the peace that's just taken over your body. The energy is settled in. Your heart is open. You're strong, you are confident, you are maybe not ready to solve world hunger yet, but pretty darn close. I want you to be gentle with yourself as you go out into the world, though. You can take these situations, this vulnerability, this sharing that you need to do, the finding your circle, finding your support network. Take it gingerly, take it one step at a time. Allow yourself space to feel, to be, to find your roots again, find your confidence. You don't have to do it all at once. Approach whatever you need to approach with just bite-sized pieces that you can handle one bit at a time. And as you work through this situation over time, it will get better. You'll eventually finish the whole cookie. I don't know why that came to my head. I don't question this, I just go with it. One bite at a time. One foot in front of the other. And it will get easier. Thank you for taking the time to be with me for this distance Reiki healing. Take some time to just breathe, be present, be where you need to be. And I'm here for you too. Know that you've got support here in whatever your endeavors may be, regardless of anything external. I'm here for you. So the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.